So did everything everything funny to you though? Oh wait a minute, I'm recording. Okay. Happy election day. I'm here at the poll with my daughters, and what is this, March 19th, 2024? And I hear a lot about what power we don't have and things we can't get done at the wrong times. And we got today being the primary election day. A lot of people pay attention to the general election. What's the difference between the two? The primary election is when you got, I guess, you so-called Democrat against Democrat and Republican against Republican, and that's how they're going to pick the people that's going to run in the general. And then the general becomes the ones who are going to go, I guess, where I come from, say heads up, or go against each other. So we do a lot of focusing on things like, let's say, for example, I'm DeMarco Mosley, and I'm running from Republican Precinct Committeeman in East St. Louis, Illinois, in Precinct 9. So that means that when you go into the, not the general, but into the primary like today, you got to declare what party you want to vote for, such as Democrat or Republican. That's if you're in Illinois. So that goes for Belleville, O'Fallon, Collinsville, et cetera, et cetera. But I bring all that up to, I hear all the time in my business how we need to make change. I see on TV about times that we have disagreements with police forces and defund and refund and things of that nature. But when we do a lot of focusing on things that's general, such as Donald Trump and Joe Biden, I think we lose the important parts of acquiring our power. Our power to do what? Our power to be able to, like now, again, I'm in East St. Louis, Precinct 9, which is over here at Wavetta Young Elementary School. So we're sitting on a parking lot of elementary school, which is a polling place. And you had today, I think they might have counted in just my precinct, maybe 40 plus voters, which East St. Louis is a heavy absentee community, meaning that we vote before the election time, and that's a whole nother story. But we're going back to the primary. Your primary is very important because this is where you elect, I guess you'll say, the street soldiers, such as precinct committeemen, or you elect your representatives. So when you prepare in November to vote for your president, you're going to get a ballot. And the ballot's going to have more than, you may have affection for one candidate, meaning that if you voting for a county seat, a state seat, you might go on and look for that one person. You're going to notice you got a lot of names on that ballot, starting with the top of the ballot, as we say. If you ever hear that term, top of the ballot, that means the person that's heading up the federal election or headed up the state election. Who was the top person? In president election, it's the president. In state election, it'd be maybe governor or something of that nature. So that's top of ballot. So you may have to, such as me, I'm on the back of the ballot. On the front of the ballot is whoever you're going to elect. So on the front of the ballot on mine, I got to go into my precinct and I got to ask for a Republican ballot, because you got to declare what party in the primary. Because again, that's Democrat on Democrat, Republican on Republican. And since I'm running for a Republican precinct committeeman, on the top of my ballot is going to be Donald Trump. Then right below that is going to be the electors. So you hear a lot about the Electoral College, But now who instructs the Electoral College to vote for who they vote for? That's the electors that you'll vote. So under my electors, it may have Trump, or it may have electors for Nikki Haley and things of that nature and whatnot. So you vote for a slate of electors. So I hear a lot about people saying that my vote don't count, my vote don't count. But if I spin this camera around, you're going to see a parking lot full of cars of people who know the vote count, because they receive money to make sure they do something called Get Out the Vote. And what is Get Out the Vote? I'm going to spin the camera around so y'all can see what Get Out the Vote means. How many cars are going to be parked here, and each car is a worker to when you walk into, I don't know about Belleville, I don't know about O'Fallon, I don't know about those, but I know about East St. Louis. We got some called palm card holders. That's people that's going to put a palm card in your hand as you go into the election poll, as if you don't know who you want to vote for. So you get there's going to be a slate of people on there. Where did that slate come from? That's people who pay them to support them and get it to all your last minute voters and whatnot. So your impulsive voters. So that's where the palm cards come from. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, I'm just here to say what the process is. So when people say that they want to go out here and participate in the election process, we understand it's a process, not a vote. Let's think of it like this. Let's say, unfortunately, you have 30 people outside your house that want to have a physical altercation. Unless you're Superman or you have some kind of weapon, you're going to find a way to at least balance out the equation. So 1 against 30, that's an automatic loss. It's kind of foolish. So think of the same way when you decide to go vote, and you just said, wake up one day, I want to go flex my voting power. Without participating in the process, you actually become the process. What's the process? You become a victim of the machine. So now we're going back to the palm cards, you have a machine that generates these votes. So you got a group of people that go around and go check with the precinct, check on the precinct, pass out absentee applications, collect absentee applications, bring them in, hoard them in, and it typically starts with your precinct committeeman. And people running for your precinct committeeman. So now we back to again why the primary election is very important. So by the time you make it to the general and you decide you want to do something different, you missed the primary. So the primary had the street soldiers that's already out there. So when you look to make a change in your precinct or your community, it doesn't start with Donald Trump. It doesn't start with Joe Biden. It starts with who is your precinct committeeman. Because if you go to your precinct right now, especially in East St. Louis, ask your precinct committeeman, what is their full-time job? Or if you see their workers, ask the palm card holders what's their full-time job, and I think you'll be surprised what you hear. So, nevertheless, long story short, it's a primary election, and typically in the primary election, don't hold me to this, because I'm not 100% sure, but during the primary elections, it's typically like 10% of voter turnout. 10%. Think of it like this. Take the worst elements of your family. You know, the cousin that goes to jail all the time, the other cousin that sells the fake dope, or the one cousin that decided he want to wrestle with his old lady. Just anybody, just the worst elements of your family. You know that's very small, because I'm of the belief that a lot of families are great. A lot of good families, especially in East St. Louis. But let's take the wild character, and let's give him the ability to make all decisions for the family. How do you think those decisions will go? So in saying that to you, when we leave these elections up to East St. Louis, let's say now, when I first started in East St. Louis politics, it was probably 44 precincts. And now we're down to something like 15 to 12 precincts. And that's because we're about at a population, if don't hold me to this, about 15,000 people. One election, you had probably about 11,000 registered voters, but you probably have about 9,000 active voters. So now we're going to break the numbers down from there. So 9,000 active voters, and most primary elections have a 10% turnout. So they're about 900 people. So 900 people between the precincts will break down to roughly almost 100 people per precinct. So in a city full of 15,000 people, they're going to have their decisions made from roughly about a pool of 900 people. So when you drive down State Street and you don't see after 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and you don't see a business district, or you drive down Bond Avenue and you're looking for a fast food restaurant that you can support your own, and you see that there are filled of people, my buddies, no disagreement, from the pop fish houses and whatnot, they're my buddies, have nothing against them. This is directly for my people, saying that when we drive down Bond Avenue and we see that 3 people that's not from our community have restaurants, and we're shopping with them, we're doing business with them, and we wonder where our people are to support our neighborhoods. We may say about Illuminati, we may say a lot of things, and we may pass our buck, but Donald Trump, Joe Biden means nothing if we don't understand who our school board member is, let alone who our mayor is, let alone who our city council is, let alone who our street department supervisor is, let alone, let's get down to the primary election, our precinct committeeman. If we don't know those things, what power are we looking to have? Let me ask you something. Who do you think is more likely to do a burglary or jump through your window? An older, like we say in the street, clucker, or a young person with no direction that has no reason to go to school with young legs? So when we talk about get control of our community, we don't need to talk about Biden, Trump, or things of that nature. We need to ask ourselves, do we know who the school board members are? Do we know who the mayor is? Do we know what system do we operate under? We don't know who the precinct committeemen are, and these are people that has the opportunity to gather our votes. Is it that the vote don't count, or we don't know the value of our vote? It's about almost 5 o'clock here in Illinois on March 19th, 2024. We still got about 2 hours to get to the polling place. We got these beautiful smartphones. We can look up a few candidates real quick and go out there and flex our opportunity. So before we go do more marches, before we claim about people that we can't control or migrants and all that, maybe we need to go participate in these precinct commitment elections. Maybe we need to participate in these primary elections. So now we go from just casting a vote to being part of the voting process. Casting out, I'll be back with you all shortly. This is DeMarco Mosley. Enjoy voting day.